Thank you everyone for joining round two of our Funnel Vision webinar series. Today we're coming at you with some fun stuff around making LinkedIn outreach count with RevSure Social Selling abilities. I am Jared Henry, Head of Customer Success here at RevSure. I am accompanied by my right-hand man, Mr. Francisco Garcia, our Manager of Solution Engineering. We're really here to talk about how to turn engagement into pipeline with RevSure.
Great. Thank you, Jerry. Right. And we're just gonna dive on in.
Perfect. So what is social selling and why does it matter? So with RevSure and social selling, we're able to help you get from likes to lead, which is the overall case for social selling. With a lot of our research, what we've understood is a lot of buyers will actually spend more time on LinkedIn than in their inbox. On top of that, just like myself, 75% of buyers actually prefer to do research on their own outside of having pressure maybe from sales, hearing things, finding non-biased opinions before truly engaging with those sales. With social selling, we're able to provide different engagement signals. So with that, it's going to be around likes, comments, profile views. These are really good early buying intent signals, yet a lot of the go-to-market teams fail to actually act on them. A lot of common breakdowns that we see within here is going to be, once again, around that engagement data. A lot of it is scattered. You might have one person who owns your company LinkedIn page who isn't having the time to then pass it over to sales and people who really need to engage with it. Outreach is very generic. There's no behavioral context around what buyers are actually engaging with. Sometimes you might be reaching out to the wrong contacts. One thing as well is making sure you're striking when the iron's hot around some of that engagement. So making sure that the timing is valuable and the timing is there. On top of that, there's a lot of wasted marketing engagement. So there really isn't that structure from engagement to then passing off to the sales. With that, I'll let Francisco cover some of the what RevSure social selling is.
Thank you, Jerry. So when we look at RevSure social selling, right, it really helps meet those gaps that you just pointed out to, right? Because it's not just the copy, right? Like you can write the greatest copy, but it's the context, it's the timing, it's all these factors coming together. And where RevSure comes into play, where RevSure augments what you do, is we identify new accounts and contacts from your engagement. We surface those decision makers and their buying signals, right? And we connect that to your CRM. So these aren't just people, right? You can see that entire history, right? We stitch together that journey of that person and connect it to those systems that you use. As an example, RevSure and Salesforce, right? And when we bring all of these together, right, in tandem with AI-powered personalized outreach at scale, now we're able to prioritize fit, intent, and recency. And when we dive into the demo, we will see all of these different things come together and how you can then create workflows for your team to enable them to act, to conquer, and to drive pipeline and revenue. And Jerry, I'll pass it. Yeah.
And one thing too on the one as well that Francisco mentioned, the workflows, and it's good timing as there is actually a question in the chat around integrating with existing sales workflows. So one thing that I mentioned earlier as well is like striking when the iron's hot. So one of the things that we're also able to do is create different alerts. So within there, we could do a Slack alert, CRM task, we could do different emails. There's a lot of different ways where we can also make sure that as the timing is correct, we're pushing them into the relative areas that your sales team is going to be working on. No one likes a kind of black box where, hey, we have this, but we don't know how to get it here and make a lot of those actual insights. And that's where RevSure also helps take that to the next level. Another important thing too, right, is kind of how it works. And within here, there's kind of three core elements within how RevSure social selling works. First one's really going to be right around what is that engagement, right? So helping capture and enrich that. Within there is where RevSure is going to go and track the engagement from those LinkedIn posts. From there, we're going to help identify some of those new accounts, whether they're going to be active or not. And then we enrich those profiles with account intelligence, different firmographics to make sure we're not only providing what happened, but also how you can reach out to them and a lot of data behind there. From there, we're going to help analyze and personalize. This will be something that we're going to be able to show in our live demo shortly. But within here is we're really going to be able to show journeys, uncover engagement patterns, conversation trends, a lot of different pain points with our generative AI. We have Relly that will be able to help also assist with some crafted, highly personalized outreach with one click of a button. From here, as I mentioned, some of those workflows and different things is we're really going to be able to help your team act and then convert those engagements into qualified pipelines. So that's where we're going to be able to give you next best actions. What are the next things as far as conversion probabilities that's going to be able to help progress those engagements into your pipeline, which is what's most important at the end of the day. We're going to be able to recommend different outreach channels and really helping turn those organic engagements once again into those qualified pipelines. From here, I think it's best that we'll shift into a live demo within RevSure to really be able to show you what it looks like and then how you can take a lot of those steps.
Thank you, Jerry. So let's dive in. And what we're seeing right now is a prioritized list of LinkedIn engagers. And how this is specifically filtered for is looking at the people who have engaged with the RevShare company page, right? It could be your own page. And we're looking at taking meaningful action, right? From a like to a reaction, right? So it's looking at likes at reactions. And here we're looking at this from an all-time perspective, but you can also filter, further filter these by, specific accounts, specific regions. So you can make this list for your lead owners, for your account owners, right? To really hit and to really target those decision makers. And as we dive in, right, we're just going to dive into one of these. And within here, we see for this lead, right, we see all of their interactions, right? Every single post that they've interacted with. We also get additional details such as their experience in education. We have insight right here to their LinkedIn profile. So you don't even have to navigate off of here to get all of that information, even their psychographic profile, and suggested outreach from Relly based on what they've interacted with. And your next question could be, how does this look? And how it looks is it takes together that interaction, right? So as we're seeing here, this person interacted with a RevShare LinkedIn post, and it's tying that message back to that, right? The context, the timing, the intent, and all of that is coming in together. And what we then do, right, as I navigate back, is you can click on schedule exports. So you can schedule exports to your sales team, whether it be email or whether it be Slack. You make it available to them in such a way where they can act upon it.
Yeah, no, this is great. And I think a couple other things as well. And a question in the comment is around filtering by new logos versus expansion. So Francis, I don't know if you want to go in here and go through the filters where we can also use some of those key things to make sure that we're understanding where we can go.
Absolutely.
So within here is where we have the ability to go through a bunch of different things. So we can look at different lead sources, anything within here to be able to make this list of everything that we're looking at the most personal, and whether it's going to be focusing on net new, is it going to be expansion, anything within there.
Exactly.
And then there's another question in the chat here as well. Given that most companies are experimenting with social selling, what's a differentiator that prevents competitors from simply copying this approach? I think
You
that's
know,
a great question.
that's, yeah, go ahead,
Yeah,
Jerry.
I think that's a great question. I think there's a couple, and then Francisco will probably have some other ones as well. I think one core thing here is, yes, a lot of people are experimenting with social selling. I think what makes this different than a simply copying approach is a lot of this is what's being engaged in your company's social profiles. So yes, competitors can also have it, but if those same people aren't engaging in both of them, they're not going to be able to simply copy this approach. When you're using Relly and how, Francisco also shared, like, I want to write a personal one, it's tying exactly what they engaged with, going through different engagement points where it's then going to make that very personalized, where a competitor truly can't then copy the same thing because they're not understanding exactly what they've engaged through their whole journey timeline.
Yeah, and Jerry, just to add to what you mentioned, I think one of the most critical parts is not only what have people engaged with today, but what have they engaged with before, right? So with RevSure, with the ability to have like our site script on your site, we're able to see that journey of that person before they ever became known, right? So you're stitching together that journey at every step of the way and how they got to lead, how they got to MQL, how did they reach those different funnel stages so you can best set up, right? Not only what they've engaged with before, because it's not just about the outreach on LinkedIn, it's how you then carry that conversation. And if you're armed with that information of what these people have engaged with, right, at every step of their journey, then your conversation becomes not from discovering, but from messaging with impact and resolving their challenges and resolving their needs, right? And that drives value.
Exactly. And I think another impactful thing as well here is on the screen here, you can see journey timeline. And what this is also going to be doing is showing all the steps that they've engaged with, whether it's going to be social selling, but also any other campaigns. So have they engaged in previous webinars? Have they downloaded content? Have they responded to emails? Did they go to a field marketing event? All of those different things are what then start showing the true engagement journey from both the contact, but then you can also look at the account level to also understand who else has been engaging to help with some of those multi-threaded conversations. Within here is how you can also expand some of those buying group conversations for your sales team, understanding, hey, maybe I've been talking to Francisco, but maybe Alex or someone else is also impactful. They've also engaged. Now they already have awareness. So let me go ahead and reach out to them as well.
Exactly.
So if you want to continue to then ask any other questions, Francis, I don't know if there's anything else we want to show here or some of the other columns and data that we provide within our social selling view here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So just give me 1 second. And yeah, so as Jerry was mentioning, right? So we have the lead name, we can dive into the journey timeline, see everything that's happening, the account name, really a direct link to LinkedIn URL, right? What was that last touch? And then a summary, right? So with this summary here, just kind of our AI summarizes everything that this person has interacted with. And we can add any additional data points, right? Like what was the first activity timestamp and that last activity timestamp. So you know, not only is this recent, but how recent did that person interact?
Exactly. And I think too, where we see a lot of our customers who have started to leverage this is really also understanding what a rollout path looks like. As mentioned earlier, I know some companies are experimenting with social selling and understanding an impact before they continue to invest. So what we kind of then start seeing is kind of three different rollout paths. And I think it's just based on the maturity of where you are and what you've tried. Within here, we'll normally see turning on some signal listening, from there manually activating a short list of accounts. So start seeing, hey, is this having an influence? Are we seeing progression of pipeline and people moving from top to bottom or top to middle to bottom of funnel? From there, the next step is really understanding like a auto build of being able to prioritize some of those LinkedIn lists using some of those Slack alerts to the owners. So really what that is setting up some of those automated exports, really understanding, hey, these are the types that continue to progress that we know that these should be our focus. From here, we'll then see kind of the most mature one, which is like a full orchestrated campaign. So within here, it's tying in whether it's going to be emails, direct mail, different things that are tying back to exactly what they've engaged to really then help have a closed loop attribution to pipeline.
Great insights, Ster. And just to kind of, not just talk the talk, but show the show, right? This is that journaling timeline, right? So not only are we seeing those organic posts that they've interacted with, but we've also seen that they've had interactions with LinkedIn ads, right? So it's not just the organic interaction, right? Those likes, those reactions, but also every single thing that they've interacted with.
Yeah, and one thing as well here on the screen is this will also show, and there's a question about how it works over time, whether it's going to be month to month, in this case, year to year. As you can see, there was engagement throughout the time. Within here, you can put in other filters as well to show opportunity progression or different touch points. So from in here, we could see, hey, there was an organic post, a LinkedIn. Now they move to maybe stage one. Within there, they continue to engage in relevant information. So that's how we can then continue to push a lot of this along the way.
Yep.
All right. Well, I appreciate everyone's time today. Love the questions that came in. If anyone has continued questions after this, feel free to reach out to myself. My email is just jerry@revsure.ai. You can also check out our website at revsure.ai.com or revsure.ai. Within there, you'll be able to see a lot of resources, a lot of content, and we'd love to talk to you if this is something of interest, or also just to have a conversation about your attribution, anything that we could go ahead and help you out with. With that, Francisco and I appreciate everyone's time and hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye, everyone.